achieve similar video quality with your One RS 1-inch 360 edition, here are my top 10 tips you need to follow. The best camera settings for 360 video is 6K at 30 frames per second. 6K will give you the most amount of detail in your video, and 30 frames per second will give you the smoothest video possible. So stick to these settings for all your 360 videos. Set the sharpness to medium to get the most amount of clarity from your 360 video, and this will save you so much time from adding sharpening in the Insta360 app or desktop video editing software. If you set the sharpness to anything above medium, then this will be too high and it will cause artifacts in your video which won't look very good. You can set the sharpness to low if you want to, and then add your own sharpening later in post if you have the time to do so. The 1-inch 360 has a thick body, so it takes more care and attention to get a seamless stitch line. To get the best stitch line results, always angle the center of the lens towards the subject, and if your subject has to go past the stitch line, then make sure your subject is at least 50 centimeters away from the stitch line to get the best stitch line results. Set your color profile to standard or vivid. Vivid will give you punchy colors straight out of the camera, ready to upload onto social media. There is no need to color grade it, and it looks really good on a bright sunny day. Standard has less contrast and saturation than vivid, so you get more flexibility in editing to tweak the colors. And log should just be avoided at all costs because it just doesn't look good. For a professional look, it's best to set the white balance manually so you don't see the color temperature shift from cool to warm. To judge the correct white balance, just scroll through each setting until you find the one that looks most natural to you. Typically, on a bright sunny day, I will use 5500 Kelvin. On a cloudy day, I will use 6500 Kelvin. In indoor fluorescent lighting, I will use 4000 to 4500 Kelvin. And in low light, I will use 5000 Kelvin. In most situations, I prefer to use manual exposure settings to lock the ISO and shutter speed, so you don't see the exposure in the video change from brighter to darker and darker to brighter as the lighting in the environment changes. In daylight, the quickest way to set the correct manual exposure setting is to first go to auto exposure mode. Make sure the exposure is set to 0. Then the 1-inch 360 will pick the correct ISO and shutter speed for you. Then switch over to manual exposure mode. Now the ISO and shutter speed will be locked. Press record. Now the ISO and shutter speed will stay the same even when the lighting in the environment changes. The 1-inch 360 does feel quite heavy on the other end of the selfie stick, so it can strain your arm if you hold it out for a very long time. So to overcome this issue, I use the Best 360 150cm selfie stick, which has a comfortable foam grip, and I use the Best 360 500g stainless steel counterweight on the end of the selfie stick to balance the weight. And this will help you record 360 video for a longer period of time. To export high quality video for Instagram or TikTok from the Insta360 app, go to the story editor, add your 360 video, reframe and edit it, then when you're finished, go to export, select the highest resolution, the highest bitrate, tap export, then your video will be exported to your phone, ready to upload onto social media. To export high quality 4K 16:9 video from Insta360 Studio for YouTube, import your 360 video, reframe and edit it, then when you're finished, click export. Make sure export reframed video is selected. Choose a file name. Choose a folder to save your video to. Set the bitrate to 100 megabits per second. Set the video resolution to 3840 by 2160. If you do not have a high-spec editing computer, then set the video encoding to H.264. If you do have a high-spec editing computer, then set the video encoding to H.265. And then when you're ready, click Export. Wait for the export to finish, and then you can import your shot into any video editor of your choice to turn it into a story with your other shots, or you can upload the shot directly onto social media. The way I exported the 1" 360 footage you saw at the beginning of this video is from Premiere Pro. So to export a high quality 4K 16:9 video from Premiere Pro, make sure Insta360 Studio and the GoPro FX reframe plugin is installed. Drag and drop your INSV file into Premiere Pro. Create a proxy file to ensure smooth playback when editing. Create a new 4K sequence at 29.97 frames per second. Drag and drop the 360 footage into the timeline. And do not change the sequence settings. Make sure the scale of the video is 100%. Add the GoPro FX reframe plugin to your 360 footage. Reframe and edit your 360 video. Then when you're finished, to export your video, go to File, Export, Media, select the format H.265, select the preset 4K Ultra HD, choose where to save your video and your file name, scroll down to bitrate settings, change the target bitrate to 60, change the quality to higher, and click Export. And when the video finishes exporting, you can then upload the video onto social media. If you want to learn more about how to edit reframes 360 video in the Insta360 app, Insta360 Studio and Premiere Pro, then check out my Best 360 Academy, where I have online courses and downloadable INSV files so you can follow along and master your 360 editing skills. I will leave a link to the Best 360 Academy in the video description so you can check it out. And that's it for this video. Hit the like button if you learned something new, subscribe for more 360 tutorials, and I'll see you in the next video.